For as long as I can remember, I've been a Minecraft fan. I've always loved that this game that is all about placing and destroying cubes has been with me since I was little and has always managed to be entertaining in so many ways. I love exploring the biomes and structures that the worlds can offer. I love wandering through the caves and trying to find a few diamonds. The feeling of surviving countless days and nights in my base and planning what my next adventure is going to be is something so awesome to think. But most important of it all, I truly appreciate that this game can disconnect you from reality. I know that it sounds so weird to be so passionate over a video game, but I can't deny it. Minecraft is and will always be a unique experience for me. So whenever Terraria came into conversation, I remember I was always so negative about it. Everyone said that it was kind of like Minecraft 2D, but I always wonder of how can it be that? How does a game that its main focus is being in a 3D environment can be equally enjoyable in a 2D space? That was always my main problem with Terraria. 10 years ago, I tried it for the first time, but I never went more than 5 minutes of playtime before switching to Minecraft again. My main conflicts were always the how can you craft things, who was this guy, where is the food resource, or how do I place blocks, where is the Minecraft part on this so-called 2D Minecraft. 10 years later, I'm proud to say that I finally understand Terraria. To say that Terraria is 2D Minecraft is a total lie. I feel like people are always saying that because of the overall similarities these games have. Yes, on both games you can craft, on both games you can build, and on both games you can explore. But these points are quite frankly a requirement because of the genre they are reaching, an open world sandbox game. But after playing Terraria, I can assure you that even from the very beginning, this game has already set a difference with other games, with the customization of your very own character. You get to customize pretty much every single detail of your character, and I love how we can already get somewhat of a feeling of who our character is going to be. After all, this character is going to be the one that will encounter many challenges along the way, will spend countless days and nights in our Terraria world. This character will be the protagonist of our Terraria adventure. Creating your own character is nothing new in these times, but with Terraria's experience, you feel more and more connection with the character that started with literally nothing as more you progress in the game. I'll expand on that thought in just a few minutes. For now, I like to focus on the beginning. A fresh new adventure in a Terraria world. So many possibilities for structures to exploring, so many enemies to encounter, and so many items to discover. Where to even begin? No, but like seriously, what's the starting point in Terraria? Alright, let's say that you've interacted with our companion, the guide, and has explained the basics of Terraria to you. You build yourself a house with some chairs and table and suddenly wonder, what else is there to do on this game? You may be wondering what is at the left or right of your world and decide to explore it and see if you can find something exciting for you to do. To your surprise, you end up dying to a literal zombie on your first night. I feel like this is the point where everyone calls it quits when it comes to the experience. Since the game is entirely structured on you figuring out the things that are essential for your story, you will have to go through some trouble on the early stages of the game, figuring how to put blocks or how to defend ourselves with the most common enemies, how to climb a big mountain or create new weaponry for ourselves. I always thought of this intro for the game to be annoying and not very fun to play. What is so fun of dying to a literal zombie on your first night? But I never saw it the other way. What if this is the game telling me that I need to find something to make my life more easy on Terraria? As I've mentioned, you start this game with absolutely nothing than the basic copper tools, and as more you explore your world, you will start to notice that you need some advantages or some gear to fight these tough enemies with ease and also travel your world smoothly. This is where one of the key elements of Terraria appears: the reward system. Relogic has executed what I think is one of the best reward systems I've seen in a while. Because from the very beginning you're struggling on even doing the simplest task, and your only option to solve that problem is by exploring the risks of your world to try and find solutions. Let's say that you're struggling on health. Well, Deep down underground, there are life crystals that will give you 20 more HP permanently until you reach 400 health. Or let's say that you keep falling to your death over and over. Well, by exploring, you will find chests that will give you items like claws to grip onto walls or even craft hooks to swing yourself through the world. Terraria implicitly introduces you to this game style to get familiarized how the game will progress. You are constantly trying to find something to make your adventure more easy, and after discovering your first items on an underground chest, you suddenly have the wonder of, is there more of these? Or well, at least that's how I felt it. I felt like I could find even more chests and even encounter other enemies that will surely test my capabilities with the weapons on this game. Also, we get to see that there are many more ores that can give you even more defense for the mobs and other weapons to move on with the experience. And in the blink of an eye, you are suddenly geared up with items you found on chests and have a full armor with ores that are underground. As I've started this section, the reward system is a key element of what makes Terraria. But it's not the only one. It's not just items that you get on chest, because with the help of our guide in the game, we can see that we can make other materials and weapons in a crafting table. This is actually how we get better armor for our protagonist. For many players, this might seem like the same exact experience as Minecraft. We can get loot from chests or by simply collecting them. We encounter basic enemies that will interrupt our experience to bring some trouble into the adventure, and we also have a reward system by chests on underground caves. So I would like to ask the question, what is so different about Terraria?
Bro, you're the one making the video.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making dramatic pauses and things like that for this video.
Ah, okay.
There are many reasons why Terraria is so different from Minecraft. For starters, the type of weapons that you get. It's not your typical iron sword or an enchanted diamond armor that you get to make. On here, all of the gear and weapons are divided in 4 classes, which are Summoner, Mage, Melee, and ranged. With this comes a ridiculous amount of super creative weapons that the game offers. How about a bee gun that shoots out bees, or having other companions that help you defeat the mobs for you? This is also another thing that I really liked about this game. The creativity they took with the weapons and the armor is out of this world, and it helps the exploring factor of this game because you want to know how wacky is the next weapon going to be, or how powerful is it going to look. I was honestly shocked when I kept finding and crafting more weapons and seeing that they didn't restrict themselves to just guns and bows and swords, and instead make variants that in paper they are still those weapons but have so much thought into them. Moving on from the amazing catalog of weapons this game offers, I would like to tackle another fact that this game has that makes it so different and so enjoyable. If you play Terraria, you might know what I'm going to be talking about next. But let's say that you've geared up quite well throughout your first part of the adventure and notice that there are other characters on this world that need a home, so you slowly but surely start making a community on your world with the other characters. Finally, you start to feel somewhat comfortable in your own world when suddenly you feel an evil presence watching you. Thus, the Eye of Cthulhu appears as the first big threat of your story. This probably took some of y'all for a surprise when you first encountered it, but it works so well for the game to have this new big threat that you now have to take care of. And most importantly, because Terraria has set clear that you can get pretty good items by mobs or by exploring, the thought of the Eye of Cthulhu dropping something very important and very helpful for your story is instant, and it gives you even more purpose of defeating the boss. This is what I like to call Terraria's progression. With the constant urge to find new and better items to make our world a bit more easy to travel with, the game is going to occasionally make the difficulty a little bit harder with the bosses, as the first that you've encountered, the Eye of Cthulhu, sets the idea that not only the bosses are not something that you can just brush off and defeat with ease with the gear that you have, it also encouraged you to see if you're truly capable of the challenge. And I'm seriously surprised on the amount of bosses this game offers early game to keep you engaged and think about how difficult or how fun is the next battle going to be. That was my main thought when I defeated the Eye of Cthulhu. I wonder if there were other bosses that gave out fun items to mess around with, like the Shield of Cthulhu. And sure enough, there are more bosses. King Slime, Queen Bee, Skeletron, and many more that I'm going to cover up in a few minutes all feel so different yet so fun and so cohesive with each other, all with super different boss mechanics that are not just hitting the character directly but instead maybe shooting projectiles at it or jumping onto the protagonist itself makes for one of the best progressions I've seen in a video game, because you now have an urge to try and find the next best gear for the next big boss that you need to encounter for the game to continue. Not only that, but as you encounter other bosses, you start to encounter other biomes that will also offer hours and hours of exploration with new mobs that need to be defeated or new blocks that you can use for builds, as well as other structures like the dungeon that is guarded by the dungeon guardian or the pyramids in the desert. Overall, once you've entered the state of defeating a boss, collecting new gear and new items, and then preparing for the next boss, there is no escape. You want to go boss after boss and try to see just how powerful can you get on this game. What new overpowered items can you get onto your protagonist? But as anything in this life, there is a limit. You reach a limit where every boss can be easily defeated, there is no new biome to explore, and overall your experience is once again peaceful. Do we really want this? That was my personal thought when I was finished with the bosses that I could encounter. Maybe for some people this was a good thing since they can focus on building or exploring parts of their world with no complications, but at this point the game has unconsciously generated this cycle on me where I need to keep finding the next best gear and the next big boss on this adventure. So by exploring the depths of your world, also known as hell, in a way or another you find yourself fighting one of the most important bosses on your Terraria journey, the Wall of Flesh. With the previous knowledge of other bosses that you have battled in your adventure, this one truly offers a big challenge, but it's not just that. Once you've defeated the Wall of Flesh, Terraria once again sets instantly clear that your quest is not done and that you still have more items and more bosses to encounter. All of this is portrayed because once the Wall of Flesh is defeated, you enter hard mode. This is also another thing that I really enjoy about this game. The concept of eras in your adventure. All of the bosses before the Wall of Flesh are pre-hard mode, which means that you are totally new into this whole adventure with nothing in mind. Exploring caves, structures, and other biomes, trying to discover how can you be more powerful, encountering many bosses till you finally feel that you are capable to survive in your world with ease. But once we've entered hard mode, we seem to be on the spot we once were when we first entered this game. All of our weaponry that made a lot of damage suddenly has little to no damage to the same enemies we once defeated. Terraria has now brought back the purpose of explore our world again and trying to find even more gear that will be helpful for us. As well, we encounter what I like to call hard mode bosses, such as the mechanical versions of some of the bosses we found in the beginning. Also new enemies that are surely a step up of what we had earlier. I like to think of Terraria as having two beginnings in your adventure, pre-hard mode and hard mode, each one being so similar yet so different from each other, each one having their own threats but also being super entertainable, and it keeps you even more and more engaged on this repetitive cycle that Terraria has of trying to see what the next big boss will offer to me. This is what Minecraft is missing. As much as I love that game, as much as I feel like Minecraft is the perfect experience for anybody that wants to get into gaming, there is a big lack when it comes to the progression. It lacks the feeling of accomplishment that Terraria offers with such perfection, and it also lacks a reason of having other bosses before the final one. It also lacks the variety of weapons and different ways that you can approach enemies. All of those three things that made me truly appreciate Terraria. It doesn't matter how many blocks Minecraft offers for building. It doesn't matter if they add a new mob that rules the underground depths. It doesn't matter that the game is in a 3D environment. if it doesn't do something more with it. Because in Minecraft there is no real necessity of going against the weather and having to go through all the pain of getting all of the wither skulls. There is no real necessity of going to fight the Elder Guardian underwater, and as much as I hate to say it, there is no real necessity of going to fight a warden or even go to an underground city at all, since they drop items that are only useful when it comes to building or to enhance the experience of building. They also offer items that you can obtain in other forms, or even worse, they don't even drop something and they just serve as a minor threat that can be cheesed quite easily. With Minecraft's progression, you can go straight to the best armor with the best enchantments without having to fight any of these bosses that the game offers. You can go straight to the Ender Dragon with the best weaponry and beat the final boss with total ease. Is this engaging enough? It's clearly more peaceful and more friendly to people that just want to have a fun and relaxing time with Minecraft, but when it comes to video games, we also want some form of satisfaction or accomplishment. Maybe that's the reason of the infamous phrase, the 2-week Minecraft phase. Because, well, I don't like saying this, but when you really look at it, the progression in Minecraft is not something to be excited about, as well as you don't get to experiment or try different weapons that aren't a sword and a bow. And also, nothing is a requirement to get to the final boss Minecraft offers. And with Terraria, it's a constant feeling of wanting to see what is going to be the next challenge, or to see how weird or how crazy can the weapons get. Not only that, but once you are on hard mode, bosses have now become an actual requirement to beat the game, since once you defeat the mechanical bosses, the jungle seems to get a new upgrade with a new boss introduced, that is Plantera, and after Plantera, you get to explore even more parts of your world that seemed impossible to enter in the first place. This is why I like thinking of this game as two beginnings, because hard mode now pushes more the idea of fighting boss after boss by making them a requirement to progress into the game. As well, it encourages you to explore any old areas that you've once visited to see if they have changed or not, like the dungeon that will offer many more rewards once you enter hard mode. Not to mention that there can also be pirates or even alien invasions that as well reward the player for defending their village from any threat, gifting our protagonists with vehicles or mascots that will go along with us on the journey. So I think you get my point, right? Terraria completely surpasses Minecraft in not only progression, but creativity, accomplishments, bosses, and gimmicks. It creates such a well-paced gameplay that keeps you excited for future challenges that can appear on your way. It also offers plenty of customization with the great catalog of blocks that you can use for your building. Also, it offers characters that serve the sole purpose of not feeling alone in your world, providing services and even some exclusive items that you can buy from them. Also, by having 4 main classes on your world, you don't restrict the player to do the single best combo in the game, and for that matter, it's not really a requirement to follow a single class in Terraria. You can mix and match what is the best gear for your protagonist. But if it's so good, if it's better than Minecraft in some aspects, if it offers a nice story of your totally customizable protagonist along this new unexplored world, if it's constantly seeking your engagement and overall its purpose is to always be exciting for players with constant difficulties approaching you, why does Minecraft always seem to be picked first? Before I experienced Terraria, my opinion was super simple. Why would I prefer something in 2D when I can have it in 3D? And that's probably the opinion of anybody that had my same situation. Overall, Minecraft at the end of the day is more appealing at first sight just for the single fact of being 3D. We find it more appealing because we can replicate what we see in our day-to-day life in our Minecraft worlds because it's 3D. We see it more appealing because we can adapt a new life and even have some friends join our Minecraft adventure because it's 3D. We unconsciously see Minecraft as a way to escape our reality and have a new one on our Minecraft worlds because it's 3D. This happens when we start to make houses or even real-life constructions in our Minecraft worlds because it's more appealing to our eyes. So when people try to say that Terraria also has all of that but is in 2D, people will instantly deny the idea of Minecraft being fun in a 2D environment. It's basically the heart of that game, so why would it be fun if I just get to walk left and right? I think that referring to Terraria as Minecraft 2D is an insult to both games, because neither is Terraria a Minecraft 2D and Minecraft isn't a Terraria 3D. After completing Terraria, it finally clicked to me that while sure, both games have quite the similar introductions into their games, with time you realize that Minecraft has the strongest point of all, which is the appeal of being in a 3D environment, but lacks the feeling of accomplishment and progression that Terraria offers. Not only that, but with Minecraft having only just one style of gameplay, it keeps things simple compared to Terraria, which in the grand scheme of things, it's so awesome to think that they added so many weapons and so many customization features for our characters, but at the same time, for somebody that just started to play this game to be bombarded with so much information can be somewhat of a mood killer. At least that's how I felt it. The concept of having many ways of playing the game and to constantly find new weapons that you don't know if they are better than the ones you already have is something that I felt super weird about it in the beginning. Why couldn't we kept it simple and just have ores, swords and bows? Why are there so many items and in which criteria do I prioritize them for my adventure? How do I obtain certain items for new craft recipes or potions? Those thoughts are something that first came to my mind when I first started playing Terraria. And sure, I overgrew them as more I went on with the game, but it's something that I even noticed once I entered hard mode. While sure the game can be really good at hinting where the next challenge can be, it doesn't really offer that much information on what to do with all of these new items that you get once you enter hard mode. It also doesn't offer that much information on how to get new gear or new items to be more powerful. And I don't know about you guys, but having to play a game with its wiki open has to be one of the most pointless things I've ever done in a video game. Why isn't all of this information on the game itself? I know that most of these items are somewhat obvious of where to find them, but I swear that it comes to a point that an item might seem easy to obtain, but it turns out is something that is dropped by an enemy with a 0.2% of appearing. How was I able to figure that out without ever entering the Terraria wiki? Well, sure, you can beat the game without ever consulting the wiki. It definitely sets you to more and more playtime to be figuring out these new items and gears the long way. And I know that I've mentioned that this is something that can be good as an incentive, but why can't we get a bit more help with the progression of our items? These questions that I've been asking were the first thing that popped up in my head during my first playthrough, but as time passed I started to see the clear difference that I've been mentioning, and to be introduced to Terraria as Minecraft 2D is not only going to give you a wrong first impression of the game, it's also so incredibly wrong to say that Terraria is just Minecraft but 2D, because it isn't. It's so much more than that. With this said, I totally recommend you to get into Terraria. If you're scared of the amount of items it has to offer, or that the bosses can be a bit difficult for you, or in general you don't like the idea of only going left and right, then don't. With all of my heart, I truly recommend Terraria to anybody that seeks a new fresh universe to explore. I swear that this game is a one-to-one experience with all of the content it offers, and its execution at rewarding the player is something so rare to find these days. And the progression of Terraria is just something so amazing to think about. And with the recent Minecraft state of having nearly nothing new as to bosses or weapons, I think is one of the most perfect times to switch up for a little bit and try Terraria for those people that have only had Minecraft as their safe place sandbox game. Don't get me wrong, I may have listed many things that Minecraft lacks that you might have known or noticed, but this doesn't mean that the game is bad and shouldn't have the recognition it has. At the end of the day, it's the best selling game of all time due to its simplicity at simulating real life. but I swear, you can have as much fun in Minecraft as you do in Terraria. I'm not trying to give you the idea that one game is better than the other or one should deserve more recognition. Ultimately, Minecraft does a lot of things good, and a lot of things that I personally find a bit boring or overwhelming. That as well applies with Terraria. It has such good bosses, such weapons and items, such catalog of enemies and side events that can happen. But it could also be super overwhelming to have all of these things to take care of, or also get to a point where you don't even know how to proceed with the game. At the end of the day, nobody's perfect. Even these games that portray the idea of gaming so perfectly still aren't perfect. But surely enough, they truly are masterpieces in the history of gaming. Thank you so much Relogic for bringing to me such crazy story with lovely characters and to constantly generate excitement with every new boss or thread that you put in my path. Thank you so much for never stopping to experiment with the weapons or vehicles. Thank you so much for every biome that you made me cross or underground cave that I needed to travel, for every gold coin that I earned, for every pet that I ever had by my side, for every potion that I took or item that I encountered, for every troll chest that I opened. Thank you so much for creating Terraria. This has been Dovitunes, and I hope to see you on the next video. Adios.